Hi, my name is Rachel, and today I'm just gonna do like a recent reads because I don't do wrap-ups anymore, but I have some time to film, so I thought I would tell you what I have read lately. I'm in kind of a reading and filming slump. Can you tell? So far I have read 90 books this year out of my goal of 125. When I did my update on like how my goals are going, I was like, maybe I'll bump it to 150. That's not happening. That is not happening. Because I am in a slump. I'm in a weird reading phase. I have started several books and then not finished them. Let me list them off. Ace, that book about asexuality. Pedagogy of the Oppressed. I'm sorry, Lo. I mean to finish it. I'm going to. What else have I not finished lately? Just a ton of things. Just a ton of things. The Lost Apothecary. I've been like sitting on it for way too long. Way too long. It's just not going well. It's just not going great. Audiobooks have been in sort of like a standstill for me. I'm not using them as often, which sucks because that's how I get like a bulk of reading done. But whenever I'm like in a place where I could be reading an audiobook, I'm like zoning out. I don't know, maybe I'm just tired or depressed or both. But I thought I would tell you what I have been reading. So the we'll just go like most recent. I'll tell you about like 5 or 6 different things because some things I'm planning on doing like big reviews for. I just have to type them up, and that's not going well, is it? Okay, so the most recent thing I read was The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I haven't read this since 7th grade, which was 15 years ago. Oh my gosh, longer. Was it 17 years ago? Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so old. Okay, so The Fellowship of the Ring. Obviously, I think everybody knows what The Fellowship of the Ring is about. I read this because I was on, I'm doing the whole trilogy for Beautifully Bookish Bethany's channel. We just did a live show a couple days ago, and I enjoyed it. I think that there are several changes that they made for the movie that I just like really appreciated, like putting Arwen in a more central role and taking out can't remember his name. And I feel like but I do feel like this book was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. There are a lot of literary devices that Tolkien used that people just didn't use until he came around, and really appreciated them. I appreciated the like male friendship that was really strong. Like I understand why Sam and Frodo are like seen as like queer coded. I can understand that. I think that he just did a really good job. I didn't love Tom Bombadil. No thank you. No, Tom, you and I are not friends. So I had a lot of fun with it and I gave it 4 stars. The one I read before that was The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. This is the same author that wrote Anna and the French Kiss, and I never read that or any of her other books, so this was the first time for me. This was an interesting book. I don't know what I wanted it to be. I think that it was really well written, and I think that it did a good job of portraying like a friendship in a really rocky place where like normally we are so strong and you start off the journey that way, but then you hit some rocks. So this is about 2 girls who they are about to be apart because they are both going off to college, and one is going off to college in California and one is staying in, where do they live? North Carolina? I don't remember. They decide to go on a 3-day hiking camping trip, just the 2 of them, and they get into the woods. It turns into a horror novel, which I did not expect. Like gory, body parts, chunky gore, just horror. So I don't know what I wanted this to be. I kind of felt like the villains were kind of meh. The biggest issue that I had with this was learning about the villains. Everything that was wrong with them was because of they had trauma surrounding their mothers, and I was like, I didn't need to know that. You could have left that out of this book and I probably would have liked it more. And they kept being scared that bears were gonna come get them, but in the end it was like men that were coming to get them, and I was like, maybe I just wanted it to be a bear that comes and gets them. Maybe I just wanted it to be like full Revenant, but it didn't go that way. Overall, I thought it was okay, not bad. I felt like it fell a little flat towards the end, so I gave it 3.5. I think I might have rounded up to 4 on Goodreads, or did I round down? I don't even know. Oh, I rounded down. Oh, okay. Who knows? The thing I read before that was GirlOne by Sarah Flannery Murphy, and this I gave 4 stars. This is about, it's set in the 90s, and it follows a girl named Josie, and she was the first girl of 9 who were born from mothers who what is it called? Conceived without male DNA and raised on an experimental commune known as the homestead. They were raised by their moms. They have no fathers. It's all mom DNA. And they were helped into like existence by a doctor who helped their moms like figure out how to become pregnant without male DNA. And this was a thriller. It took a turn at the end that I was not expecting. But I really loved the queerness of it. I really loved the conversations surrounding like bodily autonomy and genetics and like medical research and patriarchy. I thought that it was really good. I just felt like some things sort of fell off at the end. And it was kind of odd, but it definitely like made me nervous. I was like kind of scared reading it in the dark. So if you want a thriller that's like about like reproduction and scary stuff, then there you go. So Josie's mom goes missing and she goes on a like trip to find the other moms because the homestead fell apart after a fire, killed the doctor and one of the 9 girls. They've been living apart, so Josie kind of goes to each one and is like, do you know where my mom is? And tries to figure out the mystery of what's going on. Meanwhile, she's figuring out that she has like special powers. So it's cool. It's a cool book. I gave it like 4 stars. It could have been a little bit better. It could have not fallen off towards the end, but yeah, it was good. It says Morgan. It says Orphan Black meets Margaret Atwood. If I have to listen to one more book about reproductive rights be compared to Margaret Atwood, I am going to just sink into myself and fold into non-existence. What did I read before that? Then I read Women, Race and Class by Angela Yvonne Davis for my own book club. I mean, what can I say that has not been said about Angela Davis and her books? I will say that I didn't like this one as much as, what's it called? Palestine Ferguson. I can't think of the cover and I can't think of the words. This one, I can't think of it. It's Palestine Ferguson and yada yada, but it's better. Also, the audiobook is in Angela Davis's own voice. I have actually read it 7 times this year. I've only counted it once on Goodreads, but I've read it 7 because I just keep listening to the audiobook at night to help me simmer down because her voice is so soothing. I love her so much. Anyway, the audiobook for Women, Race and Class is not in her voice and I found it a little dragging. Also, the other one is written in like letter format where she answers questions, then like gives essays. And I just really appreciate that format more. I feel like that's more engaging, more palatable. But Women, Race and Class is phenomenal. It's so educational, and Lo, my love, has a video on it. I'll put it down below. The thing I read before that was Both Sides Now by Peyton Thomas. This was about a trans boy who is in debate club and he's just going through some life changes. He's figuring out that he has feelings for his best friend. He is on his debate team, but they find out that finals, like nationals, is going to be DC and the topic is going to be like trans rights. That's hard, and I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. I think this would be perfect for any, obviously a person looking for like trans rep in a book, debate rep in a book, friends to lovers, kids who are interested in politics might like it, but I think it's really particularly going to be enjoyable for teens who are just on the cusp of leaving high school and moving on to college. So main character is right at that point, is trying to figure out what he wants to do with that, and I think that that was so well done in this book. So if you are in that age group or you know somebody who is, this would probably be a great book for them. I think that it kind of like settle their anxieties about moving on to that next phase of life. Before that, I read A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. This is about, well, first of all, it's queer dark academia, so if that appeals to you, I cannot recommend it highly enough. This was a thriller about a girl named Felicity who goes to the Dalloway School for Girls. She is also about to, you know, like go off to college, and a year previously, her girlfriend died. The schoolhouse that she lives in, particularly her dorm house, is rumored to be the home of the Dalloway Five, who were witches who were all killed. And before her girlfriend died and her body was never found, Felicity was really drawn into like learning about magic and you know, like dark things that these Dalloway Five were dabbling in and all kinds of stuff. So then it's a year later, she's back at school after taking a leave of absence, and a new girl arrives who is actually a writer. She wants to write a book about like based on the Dalloway Five, and Felicity is at first apprehensive, but then she starts to be like really drawn to the girl. She's very mysterious, and then things ensue, and it's dark. So yeah, it's queer and it's dark academia, and I don't feel like I can tell you anything else beyond that. My feelings on it, I thought it was pretty nerve-wracking in some spots. I thought that it did a good job of portraying like the unreliable narrator. I thought that was really well done in this book. It was extremely atmospheric. Not only does it have this cool map, but I felt like I was in that dorm room with those girls while they're like dressed up in their like very Blair Waldorf outfits, having discussions about like academia, but also witches, and I could feel it. Anytime that a like window would creak and the, you know, cold would blow in, I felt it. I felt everything. I liked that. Victoria Lee can write real well. Yeah, so I recommend it. The one I read before that was Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. Oh my gosh. So I'm having a really hard time picking up YA fantasy lately. Part of my book slump is I can't focus on anything, but I really cannot focus on YA fantasy. And that's a problem because I love YA fantasy, but this I was able to just soak in, and it was fantastic. So main character is living in disguise as the Princess Giselle, but in reality she is Vanja, and she was the servant of Princess Giselle. And Vanja is actually the adopted daughter of the goddesses of death and fortune. So cool. All of that is like just so well done. The gods in this book. So she was working as Vanja's servant, and then her adopted moms were like, you have to pick one of us to serve, and Vanja was like, absolutely not, I'm not doing that. So then she decided to steal Giselle's life for herself, and it's a little more complicated than that, but oh my gosh, it's so good. You have to find out by reading it. So then she leaves the real Giselle poor and penniless, and Vanja takes up this place as the princess. Meanwhile, she's still stealing. She's a thief. So she's one heist away from freedom, but she steals from the wrong person and is cursed by a god into turning into jewels slowly. Like they literally start sprouting all over her body. So the god sends her half-god daughter with her to keep an eye on her, who is the best. Meanwhile, Giselle's about to marry this awful prince, and a detective from the Gods Council, like a junior detective, shows up and is investigating the thieving that's been happening, and of course that's Giselle, or Vanja, but she has to play it off as if she's still the princess and not Vanja. And the detective is so, oh my gosh, his character is so good. He'll surprise you. This was so much fun. I am now a Margaret Owen stan. I will read anything she writes. She wrote The Merciful Crow. I have to pick that up. I was so impressed by it. I loved it. I loved it so much from beginning to end. Twists and turns, and it was so unique and so different from anything else I've read before. Not only with the magic, but with the gods and with like the unique personalities of characters. It was very not typical to anything else that I've read in YA fantasy, and I think that the demi-rep was so good here, and also it's queer. Well, Vanja is not into girls, but that demigod, she is, and it's, oh my gosh, everything is, I love this. I love this book. I love it. Anyway, pick up Little Thieves by Margaret Owen, I guess. Alright, the last one I'm going to talk about is Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. This was a swing and a miss for me. It was cool at first, where it's like there's, all these final girls who were they were able to survive the serial killer, and they're in a support group, but then one of them is murdered or goes missing, and our main character, who is an unreliable narrator, which was great, wants to find out what happened to her, and it's interesting. It just went on so long. And by the end I just did not care anymore. I just did not care. Slashers work really well for me as movies. Whatever I like about them does not transfer into books. It's too much. I did not enjoy it. By the end I was like, oh, thank God it's over. But I think Grady Hendrix did a really good job with talking about misogyny in slasher flicks. So I appreciate the book for that, and I appreciate having main characters who were not all young women. I appreciated the variety of ages. So that's it. That's some things I've been reading lately. I don't even know dates or anything, but those are the most recent ones I could read off to you. Let me know if you read it. Oh my god, I can't speak anymore. I can't do it. I've forgotten how to film. There goes my career. If you read any of these, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye!